without artists, we have no mirror to who we are as a society.
And you go watch movies, what is that? You go buy fine art, what is that? It's art. That's important.
Creative arts crosses the left and the right brain and makes for a full neural capacity.
There's nothing better than hearing an audience gasp at the same time.
It touches you on a level that cannot be explained.
Only do it if it's the only thing you want to do. If it's a thing that drives you from the innermost part of your being and you don't feel like there's anything else you can do. Because you're going to need that strength and resilience to push through. I grew up in a very small town called Vanderbijl Park, and Boswell Wilkie Circus was still touring the country, and just on that first watch of the circus I fell in love with the clowns. I just loved the way they connected with the audience and they made me laugh until I cried.
I then discovered that I'm actually creative. I wasn't very good at academics, but art class at school, in primary school, was the best thing.
And Marlene Pietersche is there, and I used to go and do little poetry classes with her, where she taught me to do small poems, and occasionally she'd have evenings where we recite these poems, and I found unbelievable freedom and joy in being able to say the words and tell these stories and to emote them. I really love stories.
My grandfather was a good storyteller, so I've always wanted to be involved in stories. I just didn't quite know that it was as a performing artist.
I realized at that point that there is a possibility to make a career in the arts, and that actually people need to be in the arts for us to progress as a society. So that sort of changed my trajectory from engineer to artist, and I'm much happier for it.
The integrity of a country is seen by the quality of the arts and how it's managed and how much money is invested in the arts.
If we want to go back to our history, theatre helped this country to be where it is now. If you're talking about Utatu John Kane, if you're talking about Winston Chona, they use theatre for the outside world to know what's going on in South Africa.
I think arts education is what gives a country its soul. And as South Africa, there's nothing our country is better at than soul and spirit and life and joy.
You know, becoming an accountant is equally valuable as becoming an artist. And people usually say it the other way around, but it is to be seen on the same level. It is essential.
Not only does it teach you how to speak, how to stand and breathe and be confident about yourself, but it also teaches you how to empathize with other people.
So it's absolutely imperative that young children from a very early age are exposed to art, do art for their own healing and their own souls, not just to learn a craft, but to be in touch with themselves and be able to self-regulate emotionally.
Being able to put yourself in the shoes of another human being and understanding what led to the character's choices and why, because one of the big things we learn not to do is judge our characters. And I think it develops empathy, and you get a bigger sense of the emotional landscape of people around you.
We need to be able to connect and communicate with those around us. And if we understand how people are not just communicating through the words that they speak, but through the hidden subtexts, through the physical language, through the vocal mannerisms that they share, I think we become better human beings.
There is something indescribable about, I might cry, so forgive me if I do, about experiencing something live.
You know, if an actor is crying on stage, they're crying right now with you right there. If they're screaming with you right there, and laughing and singing, and it's all happening right in front of you. And that, for me, is the most amazing human experience that we can have.
It's almost like you're part of a holy experience. You're sitting in a space, a live space, sharing energy with an artist on stage.
We have the opportunity to see the individual story rather than just interpret broad strokes all the time. And that is how we're going to change the world. That is what helps us to be moved by each other, that we need to continually share our stories and our expressions and our feelings so that we can gain greater understanding and appreciation for that which is different.